Gateway Dirt Nationals this past weekend set records for in-person attendance as well as viewership. Flow Racing announcer Ben Shelton announced that it had a record crowd and record viewership, and in fact shared this graphic saying that the Gateway Dirt Nationals were the highest viewed event all time on Flow Racing. And audiences got their money's worth. There were a number of standout moments from the 2025 Gateway Dirt Nationals. Here are kind of my 5 favorites, maybe 6. Going to include an honorable mention here. Mike Marlar brought dome struction to the dome. He'll probably want to forget this one, though, but he delivered on his promise to bring maximum dome struction, just not the way he likely imagined it. Marlar ripped the fuel cell out of his car during his qualifying lap on Friday night. We can take a look at this right here, courtesy of Flow Racing over on X. Marlar in that iconic maximum dome struction paint scheme on the bottom right there.
Quick. First time around for Clay Harris is 10th fastest, and oh no, man, that is.
So there it is. You can see he gets up on the cushion there or on the wall, makes contact with, I guess, one of those poles, and it just rips the entire deck lid as well as his fuel cell out of the vehicle, bringing that maximum dome struction to the dome. That was my honorable mention right there. Number 5 was Tanner English delivers a Christmas tree to Hot Laps in a moment that no one is going to forget for a long time. Tanner English strapped a Christmas tree to the top of his National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation themed car. Not only was it amazing that he was able to put the tree on the car, but he turned everyone's head when he posted the fastest time with the tree strapped down during Hot Laps. We can take a little bit of a look at his lap right here. I mean, that's just really cool. Absolutely epic. Fortunately, no sound there from the World of Outlaws, but over here on X. But I mean, it was just really cool seeing him get to put the Christmas tree on the top of the car, and then he set top time in Hot Laps. That was awesome. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to use it in qualifying or even racing it. Would have been fun to see that too, but still really cool to see it in Hot Laps there. Number 4 is Bobby Pierce's domination. After a little bit of an up and down ending to his season where he won the Dirt Track World Championship at Eldora, but then struggled at the World Finals of the Dirt Track at Charlotte, where he was able to obviously wrap up the World of Outlaws Championship. He finished 23rd there on Saturday night. Pierce turned up the wick and swept the weekend at the Gateway Dirt Nationals on Thursday night. He topped qualifying in Group B, won his heat race, and then worked his way past Mike Harrison just 4 laps into the 25-lap feature and never looked back. On Saturday night, he drew the pole in the redraw and jetted off to the lead straight from the green flag. He was never challenged and only looked human when he got into lap traffic during the longest green flag run there during the middle of the race. However, a caution for a spinning Mike Harrison re-racked the field and allowed Pierce to utterly dominate on the restarts and pull out to a nearly 3-second lead. The domination marked Pierce's 3rd win at the Dome, the most overall, and his first since 2018. He also won the race in 2017, so he hadn't won since 2018, almost, 7 years ago, but he's able to get his 3rd one this past weekend. And yeah, he totally dominated. I don't think anyone is going to forget that he dominated this weekend and took home the big checks. 3rd, while Bobby Pierce was this duel between Ricky Thornton Jr. and Jason Fager for 2nd, while Bobby Pierce ran away with Saturday night's feature, that did not mean there was not excellent racing happening. In fact, just 1 spot back, and Ricky Thornton Jr. and Jason Fager put on a masterclass duel. First, Jason Fager pulled off an excellent slider to steal a spot on an early restart. It looked like Ricky Thornton Jr. was to secure the spot with a slider, but Fager crossed him over and then got a great drive off through the next corner to secure the spot. We can take a look at that right here. Obviously, Fager in that Schrader throwback car, the green and white number 25, and Ricky Thornton Jr. in kind of that Black Knight scheme with the black, the blue, and the yellow trim right there, right underneath of him.
Fager bounces through the holes, and that opens the door for the 20 RT of Ricky Thornton Jr. to his inside. Thornton throws the slider. Fager turns back down the hill. Pierce continues to lead, and just like that, Jason Fager up to 2nd. He'll slide up in front of Thornton, leaves a lane after good, hard, clean race. That was 8.
So just absolutely great racing there. Fantastic duel between those two on this restart. Looked like Ricky was going to get him. Got underneath of him there, kind of pulled up with a slider. Fager with a masterclass, as Dustin Jarrett said, a crossover move right there, getting underneath of him, and then fantastic drive off to kind of finish off the pass right there. And Ricky Thornton obviously doing a good job, giving Fager a little bit of a space there, and kind of biding his time a little bit, because a little bit later in the race, as I kind of mentioned earlier, that long green flag run, he was able to make a move on Jason Fager. Fager would maintain the spot, but Thornton would never let him get away, and he decided to pounce when the two got into lap traffic halfway through the race, and RTJ threw a slider to get in front of Fager. But again, Fager crossed him over and retook the position. The two swapped sliders in each corner for 2 laps before Thornton was able to secure that position. This was absolutely fantastic. You can see they've gotten into lap traffic. They're passing Carson Hocevar right here. And a few laps later, and Ricky's going to make his move. So let's take a look at this right here.
Damage is Fager, right rear quarter panel hanging in the cell panel off that 25. No lap traffic between he and Pierce right now, though, working lap 18.
Yeah, Bobby Pierce, though, has nowhere to go. The back of the field has backed up to the 32. They're side by side and occasionally 3 wide in front of him. And you got to think that Jason Fager and Ricky Thornton Jr. are salivating out the opportunity to possibly close in on the 32 bend, 19 in the books.
Lap traffic, that's what makes the dome especially challenging. And Pierce diamonds off the corner there, and he'll look to the inside of Trevor Gundaker, maintaining a 1.2 second advantage right now over Fager. Fager might make a little bit of ground there, though, and he's bringing Thornton to the party with him. Harrison back and forth.
Halfway home, Ben. 20 laps in the books, 20 laps remaining here in the Kubota Gateway Dirt Nationals presented by O'Reilly. And every time you look up, you see the traffic in front of Bobby Pierce. You think maybe Thornton or Fager can gain on him, and they're unable to do so.
That's
Thornton throws caution to the wind. He works by Fager momentarily. Fager drives back down under him.
And Pierce right now starting to pull away as Thornton goes to second. Fager back to...
So I don't think it gets any better than that. That is what we love about dirt late model racing. I mean, swapping sliders every single corner, just absolutely fantastic stuff. And then obviously while they're battling, Mike Harrison has closed in on them. Unfortunately, I was a little bit disappointed in the race immediately following it because this race was so good. And then Harrison got underneath Fager to challenge him there for third. He spun out and we get the caution. And so we didn't really get to see them kind of get closer to Bobby Pierce, because I think they might have gotten there. There was a promise of just an absolutely epic duel between 4 guys. We were going to see Pierce, Thornton, Fager, and Harrison kind of all lined up there. Going to have to work through lap traffic, and we just never got to see that come to fruition. There was that tiny bit of promise of an absolutely epic duel. We didn't get it, but we did get a fantastic epic duel here between Ricky Thornton Jr. and Jason Fager, and that is why that was the number 3 on top 5 most standout moments. Number 2 was Ashton Winger's driver introduction with Kyle Bronson. Winger definitely had the best driver introduction as he featured Kyle Bronson performing his best Stone Cold Steve Austin impression. Winger came out of the tunnel dressed as Brendan Smith. Bronson came storming out of the tunnel after him, lifted him up, and then slammed him into a table. Unfortunately, the table didn't break. They'll have to maybe work on that in the future. But Bronson then smashed 2 beers together and chugged them down while Winger tore off the Smith shirt. I kind of wish that the Flow production was a little bit more aware of what was going on. Obviously, I would assume that they probably don't know exactly what the drivers are going to do. So they weren't really keeping up with kind of the whole skit there. So we kind of missed a little bit of Bronson smashing the beers. And Winger got up a little bit too fast, but I mean, this was still pretty cool right here. Let's take a look at this right here. This is on X from Flow Racing.
For Ashton Winger!
He's got a Brendan Smith shirt on.
He got a Brendan Smith shirt on.
There's a... Oh, no, that's Kyle Bronson! Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no, not on the table! Oh! What you gonna do, brother? How about it for Ashton Winger?
About it.
Yeah, so you can see they decided to switch to the different camera, so we kind of miss Bronson smashing the beers together, and then obviously Winger was kind of getting up and continuing the presentation. Maybe let that driver intro go a little longer, play it up a little bit, smash the beers over top of Winger's head or something like that. Would have been a little bit better. But I mean, this was awesome. Obviously, I'm nitpicking here, and it made number 2 for me. So I definitely enjoyed that. And the context for that is number 1, right? The context to Winger's driver introduction is Bronson's reaction to Brendan Smith fencing him during the Friday night feature while the two were racing for second. It started with Bronson throwing a tight slider and dooring Smith and getting him slightly into the wall. Smith gave him a shot in the rear to express his displeasure, and then in the ensuing corner, slid Bronson and ensured his right rear sent Bronson into the wall and the fence. We can take a look at that right here. Again, from Flow Racing over on X right here.
Davenport on the move. Meanwhile, Bronson and Brendan Smith aren't friends anymore.
Both in the show.
Oh, guys, don't do that, Brendan.
Both in the show.
Oh, no.
No, you're not.
Oh, no. Well.
So you could hear that. You could see it coming. The announcers saw it coming. Don't do that, Brendan. And he did it. He did it. He put him in the wall and then got stuck there on the pole. And Bronson was not happy about that. He exited his vehicle, gave Smith a new nickname, Purebred, which Brendan Smith used in his own driver introduction, albeit Bronson used a little bit of an expletive as well and a threat to whoop him. He then confronted Smith at his car, gave him a little helmet shake, and shared some more words with him. However, what really made this moment stand out to me and why it is the #1 standout moment is that after Bronson walked into the infield and Hudson O'Neal was able to express his grievances with Mark Whitener for an earlier wreck that ended his night, Bronson and O'Neal were encouraged to get their anger out with each other by Flow Racing's Chris Moore. Bronson did not hesitate to take his advice and easily lifted up O'Neal and gave him a little spin before setting him back down. We can take a look at this here. Again, Flow Racing over on X. I'm going to have to fast forward a little bit to get to the point here. Here it is right here. This is just an absolutely epic moment. It is the #1 most standout moment for me. This is something that I won't forget at all. Let's take a look.
Let's just, you can both get anger out. You're welcome. You're all welcome.
So that was just absolutely epic. You got to love that. The crowd, you could hear the crowd roaring. The crowd absolutely loved it as well. In the booth, they're just laughing hysterically. I'm sure people tuning in, watching it, were having a lot of fun enjoying that as well. And it's kind of interesting. A little bit of a showmanship there because obviously Bronson went from being super pissed, angry at Brendan Smith, able to maybe take a little bit of a moment, express that anger, got that out, and then has this kind of lighthearted, fun moment with Hudson O'Neal. But that is my #1 standout moment. Let me know what your favorite moments were for the Dome. Do you agree with my list? I'm sure y'all are going to have different opinions, but let me know what your favorite moments were for the Dome. If there's anything that I should have added, anything that I should have taken away, let me know in the comments below.